Shalom, family. Well, we're out here enjoying a 68-degree work day. Plenty of clouds to keep the sun at bay, and it's just very comfortable. And so I'm thankful to the Most High for that, because we have had one long, hot summer. Thankful to the Most High for this beautiful day. Well, anyway, I wanted to talk about the virtuous woman again. Usually, when we think of virtuous woman, we think of someone who is married, right? Well, I wanted to shine some light on it, or shine some light in another direction. Single women can be virtuous too. I think sometimes when we get a certain thought in our mind and plant it in our minds, that's the only direction we can think in, right? We're always thinking that in order to be a virtuous woman or labeled as a virtuous woman, you must be married. No, you have plenty of women that are not married that are virtuous women. What does it mean to be virtuous anyway? This is a person with strong moral values, right? And from a biblical standpoint, there are so many attributes that are spoken of as it relates to a virtuous woman. And there are many single women who have those attributes. And on the flip side of that, you have some married women who don't have those attributes. So I think when we automatically assume that to be a virtuous woman, you have to be a woman who is attached or married, that is a fallacy of ours, because we're always looking to the married to give us that example. You can get that example from someone who is not married, right? And just to bring a little clarification to that, if you have a woman who's married, but she's not performing those duties that the virtuous woman spoken of in Scripture is doing, how can you call her virtuous, right? If she's just, what can I say about a married woman? You have some married women who don't exude any of those qualities. So having a ring on your finger or a ring in your nose, for those of us who are Hebrew culture, although I took my ring off a long time ago, because that wasn't a culture that I believe was ours. I think that was something else. And so with doing more research, we're going to find out, what did we do? Was it the ring in the nose, ring on the finger? What was it? So me and my husband both have taken our rings off. But anyway, that's something else, something totally different. But just because you have an agreement with someone, you've entered into a marriage covenant with someone, doesn't automatically make you virtuous, you see. And because you're single, don't mean that you can't be called virtuous, because there are a lot of single women, I hate to say it, but there are a lot of single women who could teach married women how to be. It's kind of funny how people just automatically assume things in a certain direction, but a lot of single women can teach married women how to be. As a matter of fact, those women that are single who wouldn't per se be able to teach a married woman how to be, you can learn something from a married woman, whether she's a good or bad wife. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you are a single woman and you see a woman who have certain qualities, then you can say, okay, I like her interaction with her husband and her family. I like the way she takes care of her family, how she instructs her family, how she does this, that, or the other. I'm going to follow her example. I'm going to do or mimic what I see her doing, you see. And on the flip side of that, if you see a woman who has certain traits about her that you know are not good marriage traits, or good wife traits, should I say, you can learn from her example too. You can say, well, you know what? I see that she's treating her husband like trash. I'm not going to do that to my husband. You see, I see that she is a loudmouth woman who is always doing this and always doing that. She's never at home. She's always ripping and running the streets. She's always out hanging out at the clubs. If you see a married woman doing certain things, you can look at her example and say, that is not how I want to be. You see, so you can learn from anybody. You see, whether they're teaching you a good lesson or a bad lesson, you can learn from anyone. You could just look at the example and say that I'm going to be the opposite of that example. I've seen that happen with a lot of children. There have been cases where There have been children whose parents were rotten to the core. Always strung out on drugs and high on alcohol and never at home. Papa was a Rolling Stone. Mama was a, you know what I'm trying to say? Mama was a real hoe or whatever. And so I've seen children actually look at their parents' example and say, I'm going to be the exact opposite of that. I'm not going to grow up to do any of that. I'm going to grow up and I'm going to make something out of myself. I'm going to raise my children right. I'm going to make sure that my children know that they are loved. I'm going to nurture them. I'm going to train them and teach them. I'm going to raise them up in the way that they should go. So I've seen examples where children learn by example by being the opposite of something. So whether good or bad, you can learn something from anyone. But the choice is yours to make a good choice. If you look at a person's example and you follow their bad lead, that was a choice that you made. If you follow their good lead, that's a choice that you make. You see? So the whole notion that in order to be a virtuous woman, you must be married, we can just toss that out the window now. Marriage is not a requirement for being a virtuous woman, Now, that's not to say that a married woman can't sit you down and teach you, because the scripture says, let the older woman teach the younger. Let the older women teach the younger women. Okay? Now, if you're an older woman and you have much information to share, if you have great qualities that you want to pass along to the younger generations, by all means do that. If you want to teach younger women how to cook and how to behave and how to treat their husbands and how to keep their house, that is your job, that is your duty. By all means do that, you see. But not every older woman is capable of doing that either. I've seen examples of older women and see, these kind of things happen because we've lost our way as a people. But I've seen older women actually telling younger women, telling their daughters or their nieces or their granddaughters that if your husband is beating you, just do this, that, and the other, but keep your family together. Or if your husband is being a Rolling Stone and he's all out here whoremongering and all this kind of stuff, I've heard women, older women tell their daughters, let that man be a man and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So not every older woman is a good example either. You have to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Some things is not good information, Some things is straight from the devil's den. If someone is telling you to do something that's contrary to the word, I don't care who they are. Wrong is wrong. Make sure that whatever you do, whatever direction you choose to go in, that you are lining up with the word, with the wisdom of Yah, you see, because sometimes the wisdom of man can lead you astray. The wisdom of woman can lead you astray. It's not always true that with age comes wisdom. I will say with age comes experience, but wisdom don't always come with age. You see, some people can go through an experience and never learn from it. All they have is an experience. But there are some people who go through certain things where they gain wisdom from that certain thing. And they say, okay, this is the path I chose as a young person. But my son, on the other hand, I'm going to make sure that he chooses a different path. My daughters, on the other hand, I'm going to make sure that they choose a different path. You see, so that's a person who learned from their experiences, right? Or who gained wisdom from their experiences. But remember, age does not guarantee wisdom. I don't care how many gray hairs you have. There's an old saying, there's no fool like an old fool. And there's plenty of them running around, giving bad instructions, teaching bad things, don't know what they're talking about. This is why it seems like each generation gets worse and worse, because our people, and I'm going to say specifically the tribe of Judah, has lost their way. And so we are increasing the generational curses. The generational curses are increasing. And so we've got to learn as a people how to build upon knowledge. You see, good knowledge. Build upon wisdom. Accept wisdom. Cause wisdom to draw nigh to you. Don't make it so wisdom don't want to come anywhere near you. Whether you're a single woman or whether you're a married woman, grow in grace and in the knowledge of our Master and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach. Grow. Don't be so one that's so full of pride to where you won't allow mistakes of your past to be learning experiences for you. Don't let them just be experiences that you go through but you never learn or grow from them. If you have something in your past that is not desirable, that you're not too proud of, grow from it. Okay, because no man could hold your past up before you. Once the Most High has forgiven you for something, you are forgiven. So build from that. Even if you have mistakes in your past, grow from that. Grow from it. Allow yourself to be a better person, whether single or married. Allow yourself to be a better person, and never get too big to where you can't accept instruction, or you can't accept guidance, or you can't accept wisdom or knowledge from someone. Always be a person who's able to learn or accept rebuke. You see, many times I understand why some people can't accept rebuke from some people, because they don't come to you in the spirit of love. They don't come to you in the spirit of wisdom. Some people just want to chop you up. Now, I know that the word is quick, powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword. I know this. And this is why it does cut and hurt sometimes. But it can also be to where a person is coming to you in pride, and they're really not trying to help you. They really don't care if you improve. They really want to hurt you. And so if it's in that spirit that they're giving it, this is why some people don't accept instruction from others, because the way in which it's delivered. But if someone is giving you a message in love, and they're just saying, look, improve yourself. They're saying, look, lay aside every weight and every sin that doeth so easily beset us. Swallow your pride and accept that love. You see, because that's how the Most High chastises us. He says, I chastise those whom I love. Now, if you have a person who's going to allow you to continue in your error, they don't love you. You see, what they're trying to do is save the relationship with you. I would rather lose a relationship with a person and tell them the truth than to try to preserve a relationship and lie to them or have them thinking that they are all right. You see what I'm saying? I would rather lose that relationship and tell them the truth. And I would hope that that person would eventually be able to come around and say, look, I can see now that they were really trying to help me, that this was done in love. I'm a very easy person to get along with. Very easy person to get along with. One rule that my husband and I live by, even when people have done us wrong, we purpose within our hearts to forgive that person and let it go. But depending on what it is, we'll let them go on their way too. You see, we will let them go on their way, but we will forgive them and let it go. And those who are really truly sincere, they usually come back around and either apologize or do something to let us know that they are sorry. Because I've had people to not verbally apologize, but one particular person said this one time after they had done something to my husband and I. They gave us something and they said, I had to right some wrongs. Now, we knew that that was a silent apology. And because we had let this thing go a long time ago, we said, I accept that. I accept it. Another person never did apologize to us, but what they did was they put something on a Facebook post where they said, I did these people wrong, and I know that I was wrong. And I know the kind of person they are. They're too afraid to face you. And so I said, wow. Me and my husband, we looked at it. We said that they were apologizing to us. They were apologizing. They were too afraid to face us, or not afraid because you don't have anything to fear. They were actually too ashamed to face us. And we looked at this post and we said, wow. And we accept it. I accept that. Because we all have a soul that we need to tend to. And, you know, all of this pride that people exude sometimes, they don't understand. The Most High looks at your heart. And if you don't get your heart right, that goes for all of us. That goes for every last one of us. The Most High will see it, and He will know it. Now, I will say that the two of the people we referred to are family, so this is why we were able to see one of the posts, and why we were able to, the one person came to us directly and said I had to right some wrongs. We were able to accept that. But that's not to say, I don't want you all to get this wrong. If you've done something wrong to a person and you know that they will never see this secret apology that you've posted somewhere, and you know that they will never ever know that you're sorry, you need to go and fix that thing. You see, I'm not trying to say don't go and apologize for those of you who have done someone wrong. I'm not trying to say that at all. You know, don't try to say, well, I did put a post up and I said I'm sorry. No, do right by this person and do right by yourself. You know, if you've done someone wrong, you apologize to them. You ask them to forgive you. Okay. I'm just telling you our experiences on how we were able to see something, and how we were able to say, you know, at the end of the day, I love this person, and I don't want them to feel heavy from this anymore. Because sometimes a person do you wrong, they feel heavy. If you don't feel heavy after you do something wrong, you a cold-blooded person. If you do somebody wrong and you don't feel something behind it, it's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I kind of strayed from the original subject of single women being virtuous too, and I guess I can kind of make this work with the topic that I just got off of too, because sometimes married women can be so arrogant. They can be so arrogant, and even in some cases taunting single women, you see, as if to say, this is why you can't get a man type thing. Never have that kind of arrogance, because the Most High will snatch all of that stuff out from under you. I remember Juanita Bynum in her pride was talking all of this stuff about how this is what I do for my man type stuff, and my man he this, my man he that, you know, and she was like, this is why your man treats you, because your man such and such. I'm like, this woman's arrogance is just off the chart, right? And the Most High gave her a very public breakup of her marriage, because she very publicly put other women down in their marriages, in their relationships. You don't do that kind of mess, okay? Because the Most High, he says, pride comes before a great fall. Anybody who is so lifted up in pride, it's going to be obvious, and the Most High going to have you come crashing to the ground. That's just how it works. So I hope you all have been able to get something from what I've said here. I want my sisters to be encouraged, whether you're married, whether you're single, be encouraged. Make sure that your life is pleasing in the sight of the Most High. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Make sure that you are striving daily to please Him, and not to please your own flesh, not to please man. But make sure that the Most High is being lifted up. He said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. And with that, I will say shalom, family.